Hey modelers, Engineer Jeff here, and this is Hobby 101, paint. You've either gotten into the hobby recently. I think it'd be good to identify this video is not so much for somebody that's been painting for a long time that really knows what they're doing. If you're new to the hobby, or maybe you just came into it, or you're just looking for somebody else's perspective, that's kind of where I'm coming with this. I've been painting now for going on 16 years, so I've accumulated a lot of different paint lines, and this is just my experience with those paint lines, and I can give you my recommendations, but ultimately it boils down to what works best for you. That disclaimer out of the way, let's get started. One other thing, every video I do, and this one included, I put a link in the description field down below, and it's basically an Amazon referral link, and if you click on it and you decide to buy something while you're on that session, they basically give me a referral bonus. So it's basically how I'm going to pay for this next camera. So if you don't have a local gaming shop, or you live too far away from one, and you're interested in any of these products that I'm using, please feel free to click on that link. Also, if you're not getting notifications when I make a video, you might want to click on the little gear button that's next to my subscribe button, and click turn notifications on or something. I don't remember exactly, but it basically will send you like an email when I when I upload a video, so you won't miss out on all the cool stuff that I'm doing. Anyway, thanks. Let's get started with the video. Alright, so craft paint is, you can pick this stuff up at pretty much any of your hobby shops. I think Walmart has this type of paint. They used to, I think they called it Apple Barrel at one point, or maybe that was just a different brand that they carried, but these are larger sizes. They make them in containers that are kind of like that size there, but typically it's a couple bucks for a couple ounces. I think for 4 fluid ounces I paid like $4, I think $4 or $5. The only time I use this type of paint is if I'm doing some kind of like terrain, or maybe I'm doing bases. I've got some brown as well. The only time I can really recommend using this stuff is if you've got some cost issues, where it's cost prohibitive to buy any of the other specialty paints. I've seen a good artist or somebody that's got some skills can make amazing paint jobs with this stuff. It's just not as finely pigmented as some of these other paints made for miniatures. I primarily use these for doing big terrain pieces. So set those aside. So the next type of paint that I guess I could say that I use is, as far as quality, is the Liquitex Basics. You can pick this up at Hobby Lobby, and I think Michael's carries it. I'll put a link to some of it in the description field below. But if you've been watching my previous videos, this is the stuff that I started with. And I would basically take dropper bottles similar to something like this, and I would put dollop the paint in there, and then I would kind of come up with a mixture of matte medium and paint and maybe a little bit of water until I got it the consistency I wanted. And that's kind of what I painted, I don't know, my first 15 or 20 miniatures with. This stuff is great. You get 4 fluid ounces. I think it's $4 or $5, but it's a lot. And again, just like the like Apple Barrel, the generic craft paints, I'll use this to do bases. I'll use this to do terrain, and that's pretty much what it's regulated to right now. But it's still a good paint, something that you could use to get started with, and it doesn't break the bank. So again, I'll put a link in the description field down below for these paints. Okay, so I guess the 8,000-pound gorilla in the room is Citadel, and this Games Workshop makes these. These are all 0.4 fluid ounces. They're pretty tiny. Little pots. Everything's in a pot. One of the nice things about the pots is it tends to keep the paint pretty well. Geez, I bought this blood red probably, I don't know, probably 7-8 years ago, and it's still viable. You just shake it up and good to go. The nice thing about pots is they tend to preserve the paint well, as long as there's a good seal there. One of the problems that some people have with pots is that, they like the ease of dropper bottles. Dropper bottles, you just kind of put a couple drops on your palette and you go. The one way to get away from that, proponents of these pots say, well, you just basically, you can dip your brush right in the end there and put that on your palette and you're good to go. But mileage may vary. I use both pots and dropper bottles, so that's a subject of an entirely different video. A lot of the paints that I have from their line are the technical. It's just because they fill a void. They fill a gap in what I'm trying to do. This is their Nurgle's Rot. I use that on anytime I'm doing any kind of real, where I've got something putrid going on. This is a texture paint called Blackfire Earth. For basing. Let's see, we got some others. So they got Citadel Games Workshop line. They have a base paint, which is used, to put your base coat on, and then this is layering. I don't know. I've used both for both, so I guess it really doesn't matter. They all have their uses. I got some of these for my kids because they're a little lower profile, and I'm teaching them to make sure the paint lid's closed. I don't want them, knocking anything over and spilling anything. They are a little bit on the pricey side. So I just checked, and $4.25 US is what you'll pay for these pots. And you get 0.4 fluid ounces, or 12 milliliters. Citadel also makes a nice wash line. I've been using these as my go-to washes for years. They work. I can't say enough about them. Again, link in the description field down below. Nuln Oil is their black colored wash, and Agrax Earthshade is their brownish, like dark brown. The big bottles, these bottles, the smaller ones are $4.25. Big bottles like this, these are actually 24 milliliters or 0.8, so you get about double. And these are $7.50, so a little bit of a cost savings if you buy the bigger bottle. Great paint line, especially if you're painting anything GW. A lot of your YouTube painters use these paints. They really don't have a drawback to them except maybe the price point. It is a vast line. There's hundreds of paints that they have, hundreds of different colors and layered paint, this, that, and the other thing. So you can check them out. I'll put a couple links to this product in the description field down below, and we'll go on to the next one. So a few years ago, Patriot Airbrush came out with their P3 line. Very finely pigmented, really nice paint. It's touted to have very little separation, like if the paint sits in a bottle for a while, stuff will get separated. But they've got these little pots. There's usually an attachment that holds them on there, but mine's broken off. I bought most of these paints right when they first came out. They come in like 6-packs. They're basically made for each faction, and I pretty much have the entire line except for a few colors. I think they've got close to a little over 60 colors in their line. I suppose you get about a ½ ounce of paint in there. That's what they're saying anyway. And again, so I've had these for at least 10 years. The only problem I've had is with the that little piece of plastic that was holding it on kind of dry rotted off. I use these in most all of my videos. You'll see me using one color or another. I have some pet paints. Let's see, where are they at? I like Beast Hide. I like Hammerfall Khaki. And any Sanguine Base and Sanguine Highlight. I like both of those. And then Troll Blood, because I was using that to paint my Troll Bloods. But yeah, they're a good paint. A little cheaper than the Games Workshop line. It's a good one to start out with. So especially if you're wanting to, like, let's say you got some Khador, you could go ahead and buy the Khador paint set, and you get 6 paints, and it's pretty much kind of sets you up for, you know, at least getting a base coat on your battle box. So, you know, get 6 paints for 18 bucks. Not a bad deal. So let's go on to the next paint. So Reaper's got their own paint line. It's called the Reaper Master Series. I've got a smattering of these. I don't know how many of them they've got. They're in ½ ounce bottles. These are dropper bottles though. So typically you'll just you'll shake it up real good, and then you'll just, you know, put a couple drops on your palette, like so. Again, finely pigmented. You know, this stuff is made for painting miniatures, so you're really not going to go wrong with this paint line. So they actually made a paint line specifically for the bones. Supposedly, this paint is made for attaching, you know, itself better to the material that bones is made of. I don't know. I haven't really tested that theory out. I just know they make a really nice paint that, you know, and they got some different colors that I kind of like. I don't know. And sometimes, you know, the lure catches the fish. Sometimes the lure catches the fisherman, is a saying that we have in fishing. So sometimes the paint, I don't know. I don't know if that even makes sense. But anyway, good paint line. I mean, and they have tons of colors, several hundred again, just like Games Workshop. So the price point on these is $3.29. That's their retail, and I'm sure you can get them cheaper somewhere, online or at your local gaming shop if they got a discount program. But great paints. But the only kind of issues that I found with dropper bottles is maybe sometimes if you're not storing your paint in a dry, cool area and there's fluctuations in temperature, sometimes the paint will dry at the end, and you can just take a paper clip or something and prod it out, or these things just pull right out, the dropper end, and you just push back in. So you clean it out, shake it back up, and you're good to go. So anyway, good paint. I tend to I probably use the brown colors the most. They've got leather colors that I really like. Of course, I don't know what I do with them. They're around here somewhere. Oh, they're there. So these are probably the colors I use the most. Rich leather, nut brown, polished leather, and saddle brown. They're kind of my new favorites for anything that's leathery, like pouches or backpacks or whatever. I really like this set here, these four. But yeah, good paint line. And we'll move on to the next one. I'm going to do a little sidebar here. The primer that I use the most, if you haven't figured it out yet, it's Stynylrez. Now, Stynylrez initially came in black, white, and gray. What I do is I break them out into these smaller bottles, so when I run out of one, I'll just fill it back up from the main one. Yeah, I prime everything in Stynylrez with either an airbrush or I just brush it on with a sable brush. So last year they came out with a couple other colors. I think they came out with 4 other colors, like green and orangish, brownish orange, and a kind of a yellowish color. More stuff that a lot of your military modelers will use, but Ken just recently announced that they've got a whole new set of colors that are coming out. Another like 5 to 6 different Stynylrez colors. So you'll probably be seeing those shortly. I wouldn't be surprised if they're out by one of the next major conventions next time he goes. So look for them. These are a pretty good deal to buy them in these large sizes and then just dull them out like I do. So one of the better metallic colors, and these are like a lacquer based, are the Mr. Color paints. The only time I really use these is if I'm going for a really super metallic sheen, something I want. I've only used them a limited amount of times on a couple different models. They're fairly expensive. I think they're like $9 or $10 a pot. I'll put a link in the description field down below if you want to try them. But a lot of your Gundam people, they use these. Scale modelers use them. Not much to say about them, but they are great metals. I mean, really extremely pigmented. Or maybe they've got like little tiny metal flakes in them, something like that. I don't know. Anyway, good paints. One of the other paint lines that I just picked up recently within the last couple years is the MIG line. And they're mainly set up for military models. I've used them. I think I picked them up primarily just so that I could follow the color recommendations for the different tanks that I was painting and the different troops. That's pretty much what I use them for, but they're really good paints and they go through airbrush. Sweet, nice. They're all made for airbrush, so, or at least most of them are. About the same price point as your the previous lines in the $3 to $4 range. Actually, the MIG USA site's got them going for $3.75, so that's what you pay for these. And I use their primers occasionally. I've got 2 or 3 different colors of those. Again, most of what I'm using is Stynylrez. That's your MIG acrylics. So if you haven't figured it out yet by watching my videos, I'm a Vallejo guy. They've got hundreds of paints in their line. Their whole business is paint. They're not trying to sell you any miniatures. Pretty much everything they do is paint. So their original color line is the Vallejo model color, and a lot of your military modelers know these lines fairly well. They're formulated to reproduce colors that were, back in the different world wars. $3.29 is the usual price point on all these dropper bottles. You're getting 17 mil in a bottle. They're dropper bottles just like the Reaper, and they clean out just like the Reapers do. You just gotta kind of work them and you can get them apart. Good paint line. Some of my original colors, when I first decided to start buying these specialty paints for miniatures, this is the line that I turned to. So I've actually got some of these bottles that are probably 10, 12 years old. Still viable. Sometimes you just got to clean the tip. So the Vallejo Game Color is another line that they've got, and it's basically, these were kind of created, I guess, to get into the gaming market. A lot of them are have like matching Games Workshop, or close to the other colors that Games Workshop makes. Vibrant colors, good for wargaming. Not much to them. They're in a dropper bottle just like the other ones were. So a few years ago, Vallejo came out with their Model Air line, and It's just paint that's thinned to the consistency that you'd spray through an airbrush. I really like it because, well, one, for the airbrush reason, but two, for the fact that I really don't have to thin my paint when I'm using, just a regular brush. And you'll see in my tutorials that I use this paint a lot. I've got a pretty good chunk of the line. It's expanded a few times in the last couple years, so good stuff. I use it a ton. And same size bottle. And then a couple years ago, they came out with their Game Air line, which is just like the game color. Is made for gamers, more vibrant colors. Not much else to say about it. Same size bottle, same formula. You just made for pushing through an airbrush. I use a lot of these too. And then recently, I think last year, Vallejo came out with their metal color. It's an acrylic metal paint, and I'll say this: the gold color is kind of iffy, but they're silver based, type colors, like iron or gunmetal or silver or whatever. Those are really nice, and you'll be seeing these in an upcoming video. And they have a special surface primer for those. Vallejo also makes surface primer, as you've seen here, just in a smaller container. And they have a whole slew of different colors. I like this German red brown for putting down on bases if I've not done the whole model and base at the same time when I'm priming it. So I'll just paint that on with a brush. So Vallejo's been listening to the hobbyists, and recently they've created, well, not recently, these things have been around a little bit. Basically you get all the colors you'll need to do non-metallic metals for this one. And this one is the Game Air version for faces. Just comes with, like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 colors. And then non-death chaos. So if you had to nail it down to just one paint line, Vallejo is going to be my choice. I like dropper bottles. They are a paint company, and that's what they do. They're very good at it. And just the variety. The color range is huge. Plenty of colors to choose from, and I think price point on these is about $3.29 a bottle. So I think as a hobbyist, the color ranges and the different paint lines that you have out there, it's real easy to kind of get overwhelmed with all the choices. If you get a good deal on some P3 paint, then pick up some of those and try them out and see how they work. I don't know if I'm typical of most hobbyists. I mean, after 16 years, I've got a lot of different paints because I've kind of bounced from line to line trying to figure out what I like the most. I don't know, find a paint that you like and try it out. If it doesn't work, sell that off to your friends and pick another line. So there's a lot of different factors that kind of determine what somebody's going to buy as far as a paint line. I mean, there's the cost. Do you like dropper bottles? Do you like paint pots? Are you following along in a tutorial where somebody's only using GW paints? There's color charts out there that you can use to link up paint colors to their respective color on a different range. So there's a lot of different factors that you can use to determine what line you're going to go with. Or maybe you'll just go like I did and you'll have a few of every line. I don't know if that's the right way to do it, but it's kind of the way that it's shaken out for me. So yeah, that's it. That's my review. I hope this video was informative for you. I hope that it gave you some insight into the different color lines that I reviewed. I hope it enables you to make a good decision as far as, you know, what kind of paints you're going to use as you journey down this, you know, miniature painting road. One of the reasons I made this video was just I don't want someone to go through what I went through, per se. I mean, it's taken me 16 years to figure out, you know, 15, 16 years to figure out what I like to use in paint, in a paint line. And if you've watched any of my videos, you know I pretty much bounce from paint to paint to paint. But I generally stick to the ones that, you know, we reviewed in this video. That all being said, good luck making your decisions. Feel free to leave comments in the comments field down below. You know, what's your favorite paint line? And you know, why? What's one of the reasons you're using it? Is it because it's kind of what you got handed down, or you know, maybe you were gifted the set, or maybe, you know, someone out there on the internet said this is the best thing to use, and you know, don't use anything else. I don't know. I'm just curious. I know there's a lot of different perspectives, and there are people that are fiercely brand loyal. I'm not. You know, I like what I like, and what I don't like, well, I guess I won't promote it and I won't use it. Yeah, let me know what you think. The next video I think is going to be a Pathfinder Pawns review. I've got Curse of the Crimson Throne, and it just came out like last month, so we'll crack the plastic on this and do a review of it. I've got pretty much the next 3 to 5 tutorials kind of lined up. If you look at my Facebook page, there's some pictures there that kind of talk about the different models, or show the different models that I've got considered in the lineup. Feel free to comment, let me know what you think. That being said, I think what we're going to go with is the Owl Bear from Reaper Bear. That being said, I think what we're going to do is the next tutorial will be the Reaper Bones Owl Bear. So stay tuned for that. Again, we're going to do the giveaway for the Reaper Bones Cthulhu. Still, I got to plan that out a little bit. It's kind of a big deal. I might have some collaboration stuff going on with some other YouTubers, kind of working that angle. Oh, we're going to do a swamp base tutorial. That should be coming up fairly soon. And I think what I'm going to do with that, I'm going to use that base, and I'm going to kind of tie it in with a future figure tutorial. Kind of like what I did with the cave troll this last video. You know, creating a base for it, customizing that base, and then painting the figure for it. So it kind of be almost like a series or something. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, I got nothing else. So remember, leave a comment, like the video, subscribe if you haven't, and share that baby with your friends. And we'll see you in the next video. Peace.